Hello friends, welcome back again, and we are in the last part of this lesson number 9, where we are talking about the public facilities. In the last class we were talking about the alternatives, and the government is in charge of water supply, so why not give it to the public, why not give it to the private company, and government can have a check on them whether they are doing well or not. So if the government continues to provide this kind of inefficient service, then people will suffer, people will be struggling to get good clean drinking water, and quite many of them will get sick and die and so for the safety of the people, for the good health of the people, it is better that government finds out some other alternatives, maybe to appoint private companies, or maybe to find some other solutions. Let us continue to see. Yesterday we saw two solutions. Today let us see another solution. You can see page number 115. Number 3. In a few cases where the responsibility for water supply was handed over to private companies, there was a steep rise in the price of water, making it unaffordable for many. Cities saw huge protests with riots breaking out in places like Bolivia, forcing the government to take back the service from private hands. So, some places government appointed private companies to supply water, but they were motivated by the profits. They wanted to get maximum profit. Therefore, they simply charge the people very high rate, and the poor people could not afford to buy this water. And therefore, there was a protest by the people, especially in the country like Bolivia. The people came to the street. They began to shout slogans against the government, trying to show protest rallies against the government. And therefore, government was forced to take back the responsibility from the private company, so that the government can provide water safe and cheaper rate. Then let us come to India. So we see, if it is supplied by the private company, but if the price is normal, then they can serve well. And government has to do a check. Otherwise, private company will go on extracting more profit, and then at the end, people will suffer and they will protest against the government. Let's see what is the situation in India. It is possible. Number 4. So within India, there are cases of success in government water departments. Though these are few in number and limited to certain areas of their work, the water supply department in Mumbai raises enough money through water charges to cover its expenses in supplying water. So we see the example of Mumbai. What do? They raise enough money through water charges. They supply water and collect money from the people charges. So they don't charge very high, but they charge just what is sufficient for them to continue to carry on that work. And in Hyderabad, a recent report shows that the department has increased coverage and improved performance in revenue collection. So recently there was a report about Hyderabad that the department has increased coverage and improved performance in revenue collection. So they are able to get more money from the people. They are able to increase their revenue, their income. And in Chennai, the department has taken several initiatives for harvesting rainwater to increase the level of groundwater. So in Chennai, government is trying to ask the people to collect the roof water. When it is raining, the water is just flowing down. So instead, collect the water from the roof through the pipe and send it to the tank. And then it will remain in the tank, so that the ground level water will come up. Otherwise, we go on pumping out water from the ground, the water level will go down and down. If you collect the rainwater and keep and use, then the groundwater level will remain. We are using only rainwater. So that kind of alternatives are used in Chennai. It has also used the services of private companies for transporting and distributing water, but the government water supply department decides the rate for water tankers and gives them permission to operate. So there is also private companies are operating water supply in the tanker, but government is putting a check on them. Government is not allowing them to charge any amount. Government will say you can supply water, but this is a maximum amount that you can take. You cannot collect more than this much money, otherwise you will be penalized, you will be put in the jail and so on. So government is checking each and every. So the poor people will be saved. The private companies cannot exploit the poor people. They cannot collect as much money as they want. And hence they are called on contract. So whenever government feel that there is a need for help, they will call these private companies to come and supply water, but government will say only this much money will be given to you, not more than that. You cannot go and collect as much as you want. So they have to obey the government rule and follow the regulations, the rules that government is setting up. And you can see the picture there. Mumbai Suburban Railway is well functioning public transport system. It is a decent route in the world, attending to 65 lakh passengers daily. Extending over a distance of 300 kilometers, these local trains allow people living far away from Mumbai to find work in the city. And note that the high cost of housing in cities makes it impossible for an average worker to live in the city. So we see the train service in Mumbai. So people who are poor, they cannot buy a house on rent in Mumbai town. It is very expensive. Therefore they go and live outside the city and they come to the city for work every day by this kind of trains. So there are so many trains are there. They are running. So 865 lakh passengers are traveling every day in this train. Can you imagine? 65 lakh people are traveling every day in this train. They come. This train is a short distance local train, just 300 meters only. It's 300 kilometers. So within this 300 kilometers distance, people can travel by this train and come to the Mumbai city and do the work there. So evening they go back, morning they come. So it is a very comfortable situation for the people. Otherwise, for them to find a place to stay in the city is very difficult and it will be very expensive, and the poor people cannot afford that. So this provision by the railway is really helpful for the people and they are really benefiting from that. So that is another public service, public facility that is provided by the government to the people. Now you can see another page, the column is there. It is about the sanitation, how the people are provided the sanitation. So latrines for us, they exclaim in astonishment. We go and perform our functions out in the open. Latrines are for you big people. So in olden times or earlier times, most of the people in the villages, they did not have latrine or they did not have toilet. They were going for their needs in the open ground, in the jungle and so on. And they thought for poor people there should not be toilet. Toilet is meant for big people, rich people, important people, and the ordinary people should go to jungle and sit under the tree and do their needs. That was their understanding. So when they were provided with toilets, they were really worried. They were wonderstruck. Every poor people are also getting toilet or what? That is what they were thinking. Let's see. So besides safe drinking water, sanitation is a must in prevention of waterborne diseases. So sanitation, that means keeping our surroundings clean. If you go and do number one, number two in the open places near the houses, then it can create lot of sicknesses. The flies will go and sit there, and the flies will afterwards will come and sit in your top of your rice that you are eating, and so you will be getting a lot of sicknesses. So sanitation, keeping the surroundings clean. So toilet, making toilet is a a part of that, making a sanitization. And so, however, the sanitation coverage in India is even lower than that of water. And official figures for 2001 show that 68% of the households in India have access to drinking water, and about 36% have access to sanitization, that is, toilet facilities with the premises of residents. So, for Indian, water is more accessible and they consider toilet is less important. Therefore, 68% of the population have got a drinking water facility, but only 36 people have got toilet in their houses or attached to the houses, near to the houses, and so those people, those who don't have toilets, they go and sit in the outside in the open ground and they dirty the place. So people were not aware about the importance of having toilets and so on. So once again, it is the poor both in the rural and the urban areas who lack access to sanitation. So it is the poor both. The poor people are the ones suffering from lack of water and also lack of sanitization. Then Sulab, a non-government organization, has been working for 3 decades to address the problems of sanitation facing low-caste, low-income people. So there is a NGO, non-governmental organization, who is working to make the people aware about the importance of sanitization. And so people who are poor, people who have got very low income, or people who are low caste, so they are working among these people in order to empower them, in order to provide them opportunity, provide them with knowledge, awareness, and so on about the importance of sanitization. Then it has constructed more than 7,500 public toilet blocks and 1.2 million private toilets, giving access to sanitation to 10 million people. So this organization, they have built 7,500 public toilets. Public toilets means on the roadside, near the bus stand, and so on, where the people gather together for them to go for needs. So they make on the roadside public toilets in order to, for the people who are on journey, for them to make use. And also they have made 1.2 million private toilets. They also have made for the poor people near to their house toilets. 1.2 million, such a huge amount of number of toilets they have built for the people. So in that way, sanitization is available to 10 million people are able to have access to sanitization. The majority of the users of Sulab facilities are from poor working class. So the Sulab NGO is helping mostly those who are very poor, those working class people who don't have enough money to build toilets and so on. So they are helped by this society or this NGO called Sulab. Then next time you see a Sulab toilet, you might want to find out yourself how it functions. So if you are able to see in your own village if there is a Sulab toilet built by Sulab, then just try to find out how does it function and so on. So if there is no sanitization, what will happen? As I said, it will affect the health of the people. They will become sickly, their health will be very weak, and they will fall sick, and they will have no money for buying medicine, and they may die away early, and so a lot of problems are there. Now let us try to conclude this lesson. So we saw what are the important public facilities that are necessary for a people of a country, what are their rights, what are the important things that government has to do in order to keep the people healthy by providing them good water, by providing them public transport, by providing them sanitation, and so all these are the rights of the people, and it is the responsibility of the government to provide all these things. And you can see a picture how many wires are hanging there. So the census of India 2001 puts Rural households electrification at 44%, leaving around 78 million households still in the dark. So according to 2001, how many people are able to get electricity connection? Only 44% of the rural people are able to get electricity connection. That means around 78 million households in the rural area, they are still in the dark. They don't have connection. That was in the 2001. Now 20 years more are over and the situation has improved. Now even in the villages we find there is electricity reaching, though sometimes it is not very regular, but in most of the places the electricity has reached. Now let's see the conclusion. So public facilities relate to our basic needs, and the Indian Constitution recognizes the right to water, health, education, etc. as being part of the right to life. So it is written in the Indian Constitution that people have got the right to receive all these aspects which are part of right to life, like education, food, sanitation, all those things. Thus, one of the major roles of the government is to ensure adequate supply, adequate public facilities for everyone. So we say it is a primary duty, primary responsibility of the government to provide these facilities to the people, the public facilities. But progress on this front has been far from satisfactory. So we see it is a duty responsibility of the government, but we find that the speed is very slow. It is not achieving that progress, the target it is not achieving. There is a shortage in supply and there are inequalities in distribution. First of all, it is very insufficient. There is shortage in supply, maybe water, maybe electricity, or maybe transportation facility. Everything is not sufficient and it is not reaching to everybody. People who are rich, they are able to get it. People who are poor, they are not able to get it. They are still suffering. And compared to the metros and the large cities, towns and villages are underprovided. So big cities and metros, they are well equipped. They have got more access to power, water, sanitation and so on. But people who are living in the villages and the small towns, they are not provided all these facilities. We, especially in the case of transportation, we can say most of the villages don't have access to road, and they may have very kacha road, and if it is raining then most of the roads will be very slushy and the vehicles will not be able to go, and there is no transportation system. Only some private sumos will be running and they also will be charging too high from the people and so on. So government is supposed to provide transportation to all the villages through all the roads. Therefore, they are supposed to maintain good road and so on. So very often we find it is the poor people living in the villages. They are the one not having access to these facilities that are provided, that are supposed to be provided by the government. So handing over these facilities to private companies may not be the answer. So if you say government is not able to do, let us give it to the private. So always giving everything to the private, that may not be a very good solution. That is not, may not be possible, because they may charge very high and the poor people may not be able to pay that expense. Any solution needs to take account of the important fact that every citizen of the country has a right to these facilities, which should be provided to her or to him in an equitable manner. So we have to make sure that we have to be aware that every person in this country, whether it is a boy or a girl, they have the right to demand equal access to everyone. People who are living in the town, people who are living in the village, everyone should have sufficient water, sufficient power, sufficient transportation means, all that. So they have got the right to demand, because they are also citizens of this country, and the constitution makes everyone equal. Whether you are living in the town or whether you are living in the village, you should have access to all these things. So it is the responsibility of the government to provide all these things. Hope our government will come up to that and will try to provide the best solution that is possible and help the people to improve their situation, their life conditions, and they will be able to live a healthy life, able to live a comfortable life, and be part of the developing program of the country. So that way we come to the end of this lesson, and we can see there is a chart given in the column exercises. So there is water, electricity, roads and public transport. 4 public facilities are mentioned, and is it available or how can it be improved? So you compare, is it available in your place? Water, is the water supply available there, or how much more we can improve, what more need to be done in order to improve? Or electricity, is it supplied well, or what more you need to, or government need to do in order to improve? Or roads, is roads good in your area, or what is the more work to be done by the government? Then public transport, is there public transport service, buses, other things? If it is not there, what more to be done? So you write here, is it available or not? If it is not available, then how government has to do it? Or if it is not satisfactory, what more improvement need to be done? So that one you write here and find out. So in your own place, don't try to ask others what is that. So what you experience in your own place, in your own village, in your own city, how is it the situation? Accordingly try to write it there. Then see few words given there, glossary. What are they? So first word is sanitation. Provision of facilities for the safe disposal of human urine and feces. So sanitation means there should be provision, that is toilet for the people to go for their needs. This is done by construction of toilets and pipes to carry the sewage and treatment of wastewater. This is necessary so as to avoid contamination. So if there is no proper toilet, if it is done in the open place, then it will create a lot of health problems and people will continue to get sick. Then another one is company. A company is a form of business set up by people or by the government. Those that are promoted and owned by individuals or groups are called private companies. For example, Tata Steel is a private company, whereas Indian Oil is a company run by the government. So companies are the business, forms of business. If it is managed by the private people, then it is a private company. If it is managed by government, then it is a government company. So can be 2 companies. In the case of water supply, we said government is supplying water, means that is water by the government company. Or if it is managed by the private people supplying water in the water tank, then it is a private company. So whatever work they do, if it is owner is private man, then it is a private company. If the owner is a government, then it is a government company. Then universal access. Universal access is achieved when everyone has physical access to a good and can also afford it. So when certain things are affordable by all, available to all, then we can say it is universal access. If it is available only to the rich people and poor people cannot buy it, then it is not universal access. So it should be available to everyone. Then, for instance, a tap connection at home will allow physical access to water, and if the price of the water is low or is provided free, everyone will be able to afford it. So suppose there is a water connection, water supply connection. They say price is very high, 1 liter water 100 rupees. Then all the poor people cannot afford that. They need several liters of water in a day, and if they have to pay 100 rupees each, then it is very costly. They cannot afford. So they will not buy. Only rich people will be able to buy that. Then it is not universal access. It is access only to few people. So it has to be free, or it has to be very low price. Then everyone can buy. Then basic needs. So primary requirements of food, water, shelter, sanitation, healthcare and education necessary for survival. So basic need means the basic need that the person has in order to survive. What are they? He needs water, he needs food, he needs shelter, he needs sanitation, he needs healthcare and he needs education. So these are called basic needs. For every person to survive, he needs all these things. So these are called basic needs. So a lot of explanation is there. You can read again and try to understand. And I hope you are understanding the lessons. So in case if you have any doubt on any point, please don't feel bad, please don't feel shy. You can ask me again, you can ask me any question you want, any clarification, so I'll be happy to explain to you again. Okay, so read nicely your textbook and try to get the correct meanings properly and try to understand. Read again and again. You have plenty of time these days at home, so try to make use of this time by reading, studying nicely and try to get maximum knowledge. Okay, so thank you for listening. Have a nice day.